So let's do this rant at the start before we get into the podcast, because there's just been something we've been talking about internally for a while, and who knows, by the time this releases in, I think, February, it won't be a big deal. But
I mean, I think at this point it's still not a big deal.
This is also a thing I've been seeing literally since Rise of Skywalker came out, so it's nothing new.
Yeah.
No, but it's increased since The Mandalorian finished.
Yes.
So let's just put this in as simple terms as humanly possible. Y'all are making flying flat out fucking fools of yourselves.
Yeah.
That believe this bullshit that the sequels are going to be decanonized because of the Filoniverse or whatever. Y'all are making
Filoniverse.
Y'all are making fools of yourselves. Anyone that believes this crazy conspiracy theory that because of the fucking Rebels time travel thing and because of the Filoniverse and Baby Yoda being introduced to Luke and Ahsoka being in The Mandalorian, all of this completely logical information that you seem to take as this proof of concept that time travel is going to become something that in some way decanonizes the sequel trilogy. Y'all are fucking crazy.
Honestly, I would be more like I'm not the biggest sequel fan, and I know all of this is generated because people are like, I hate the sequels.
Yeah.
And like me as someone who's like not a huge fan of the sequels, I would be more pissed off if they did decanonize them.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Who's to say? Because people have a short fucking memory. The same kind of backlash without this crazy kind of conspiracy theory involved happened during the prequels. And look at the way the prequels are viewed now. There are so many people who adore those movies. So with that context, let's take a second and think. If you're right, if for some batshit reason you're right, then what? Because first of all, you should be ashamed of yourself because you just robbed an entire, I don't know, generation of whatever their Star Wars was. But if you're right, which you aren't, if you're right, what the fuck do you do then? And what happens if for some reason they make another trilogy to replace it? What happens if that doesn't make you happy?
From what I understand, it's like some person made a fake tweet that like some YouTuber picked up on who's like super hyper, like he's one of those like ridiculously annoyed people with the sequels, and that's how this all like blew up.
The only things that I've seen other than people being fools is this crazy conspiracy theory because of the ending of Rebels. And again,
no, I mean the tweet was made, and this one YouTuber goes, well, my source is in Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, I love.
Sure.
Yeah, my sources have told me that guy is just a massive dickhead. So
and I've seen this guy, and I'm not even gonna name drop him. His content honestly annoys me.
And to be fair, we have Kathleen Kennedy's email, and she's direct.
Exactly. I am in personal correspondence with Kathleen Kennedy, and she told me that guy can go fuck himself. Roll the intro.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week forever. This time, Empire Strikes Back. Ben, how was your watch?
These radio shows are gonna kill me.
Probably. No, you'll get through it. You only got one more after this. And it's even shorter.
It's not the length. It's not the quantity, it's the quality.
Chris, how was your watch?
My watch was great and controversially, I can talk. I can say words. I really fucking enjoyed the radio drama.
Oh.
I really genuinely enjoyed the radio drama.
I'm really gonna love this because I'm a messy bitch who loves the drama. I can't wait to see you all play off each other.
I really, really enjoyed it, actually. Like, cannot overstate how much I enjoyed it.
So can I just crack this wide the fuck open?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
They have a fucking a rebel like radio controller guy who sounds more like Han Solo than Han Solo does.
I really didn't mind Han and Leia. I mean, yeah, obviously they don't
No, I
sound
didn't mind it, but
exactly
like
them, but
I sat there like you had this guy who sounds like exactly like Harrison Ford. Why the fuck is he not just Han Solo?
my favorite part of the radio drama, there is a moment when they're realizing Luke has not come back yet, and Han's freaking out, and Han is basically yelling at everyone like, "No, I'm going after him." There's a member of the rebellion who comes up to him and is like, God, I don't remember what exactly the context is, but something happens where Han says something along the lines of like, he's not okay out there. Have you noticed how cold it is? And this guy's response in the most deadpan, dry way, he goes,
"I'm aware of that. I joined up with the rebels because I noticed things."
He says, "I noticed."
I will say, because my friends don't entirely know, but I do. I have listened to small bits of the New Hope one, and I will listen to small bits of this one probably, because since it's not as copyrighted, I have used small bits of this. Which, by the way, we should probably give credit to the guy who uploaded these, because he added a lot of stuff to it.
He's fantastic.
Nigel.
I think the guy's name is just Nigel based on the description to the videos, but Nigel, fantastic work.
For real. Like, the work put into these fucking radio dramas, like, they were initially done in, like, episodically. He combined them all, flawlessly transitioned each episode to make one cohesive narrative, added sound effects. It's fantastic.
Did he add the sound effects, or were they already there?
He added the sound effects, and
he added a few.
Yeah.
In the information, he has a detailed list of what he added and timestamps of what he added, which is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
I can't stress enough how amazing of a job this guy did, and the undertaking to put all this stuff together.
Oh shit, yeah, I never dug into his descriptions. He goes really in depth with all of he tells you when one episode starts or ends.
Yep.
He's like,
exactly. Absolutely. Like, I know we do a thing at the end of the show where we shout out various like other content from the Star Wars universe. I can't stress enough. Check these radio plays out.
This guy, I'm looking at this now. This guy put a ton of work into these.
He did.
This is clearly like a passion project for this guy. He did a phenomenal job. Cannot praise the work that this guy did enough. Just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, this bouncing off of that, moving on from Nigel, this fucking radio drama, I enjoyed far more than the last one. The last one was cool. I enjoyed the A New Hope one to a degree. After the Tatooine stuff with Luke, all the deleted scene stuff, it got a little hard to get through. This one, I fucking enjoyed from beginning to end. The acting was a hell of a lot better.
Accountant Vader is still here.
Yes!
Yeah.
Fuck yeah!
So Han and Leia, as far as voice acting goes, the people playing the roles do a much better job.
Yeah.
They somehow make the horrifically misogynistic Han Solo scene slightly less horrible.
Marginally more bearable, I would say.
Yeah, it's like a little bit more bearable.
They don't fully, there's no way to, fully course correct it, but, they definitely, they do as good as they could with it, I would say.
On the other fucking end, the Leia and Luke kiss, so much worse.
Oh, it's like a full at one point Han Solo has a line where he goes,
"Hey, you two. Headquarters personnel report to the command center." Do you feel like breathing for a second there?
Welcome back, Luke.
Thanks, Leia. You know, this could make getting injured very popular.
Yeah! They're like fully making out. Like, it's not like they are fully making out.
Fucking superb.
I was disappointed we didn't get in depth with the dinner scene. If anything, the way they did the dinner scene makes me feel like they just left the food sit there and get cold while he went to torture Han.
Hold on, I'll get there because I got a lot to talk about with this radio drama.
Okay.
I really enjoyed this radio drama.
Let's shred this cheese out a little thinly because we still got Empire Strikes Back the movie to talk about, and let's kind of it's because I know when I did the special features, it's the instinct to talk about this stuff all the time because it's new and fresh.
Yeah, we'll try and pepper it out over everything.
Before we drop this, I have to say one more thing about the radio drama before we move on and come back. Fucking John Lithgow plays Yoda.
Oh, I was wondering who it was because at the end credits they list all the mainline characters. And they don't list who Yoda was, and I sat there like, that's the person I wanted to know most.
It's John Lithgow,
incredible,
whom I adore. It's the worst fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's
in the best way possible.
I forget if I just messaged Josh or if I put this in our Discord, but I said it sounds like Yoda in this radio drama is the love child of Jar Jar and Yoda going through puberty.
Don't shoot! Away put your blaster! Only my walking stick have I. No harm to you or the droid, I mean.
It sounds like Yoda's got a hernia and is trying to move a couch up a set of stairs while talking to Luke at all times.
Size matters not. Look at me. Judge me by my size, do you?
Of course not, but I never meant that you were...
And well, you should not. For my ally is the Force.
And on a similar note, I was very happy to find out Billy D. Williams is playing Lando.
Oh,
fuck
Josh and I do this a lot on this podcast because we're both big pro wrestling fans. So to use pro wrestling terminology, I popped so fucking hard for Billy D. Williams. It was ridiculous.
I will be eternally grateful if we never use this terminology ever again. Because that phraseology just made me uncomfortable.
Oh, God.
We're going to do a one-off episode where we find, the worst possible old-school WWF show to make Ben watch with us. We'll just review it.
Ben is a connoisseur of bad pro wrestling. There's a period in our friendship where I would just send him bad pro wrestling promos and stuff, but beyond that, he doesn't really know. So it's fun.
Yeah,
I've seen everything Macho Man. That's pretty much most of it, and very bad math, and that's coming from me.
I sent him the Scott Steiner promo.
Oh boy, we'll move back to the movie for a moment. I just now noticed in this watch, and again, cannot stress enough how long I've been watching these fucking movies in my life. I just noticed how strange the scene where Luke's dying of exposure. And Ben pops up as a ghost, and he's just like, Luke, go to Dagobah. And Luke's like, Ben, what? It's like he pops in like, Luke, I see that you're dying at the moment.
But I need you to hear me right now.
I need you to go to Dagobah. If you survive here, which you're not looking good, if I'm being honest, buddy, I need you to go to Dagobah to train with the master that trained me. Fuck that Irish prick that trained me initially. The small green one that trained me after.
I mean, to be fair...
Before you say this, Ben, can I make a question about what you're about to ask?
Sure.
Are you about to defend it by saying he knew he would live because of the Force?
No.
Okay. No, it's a completely reasonable thing to say, but I would like to posit that at some point in the process of making this podcast, in order to get to the meaty, funny stuff, we're going to have to throw that shit out the window.
Because I know Force spirits, the way they're described in some material, is living kind of outside of time, where they can view, all of time, basically. It's
Yes.
a weird kind of like omniscience almost.
I understand that, and that's actually a really cool interpretation. I don't mean to take away from the lore of it at all, but we have, and I have done this a lot myself, we have ignored so many fucking funny avenues of talk by
I know,
saying
but
all the
Josh,
Force.
this is what you bring me here for. This is my job.
Oh wait, hold on. Are we trying to excuse this by saying that Ben would not possibly know that Luke is dying at the moment, like can't see, like
No,
No,
we're trying to
like,
excuse
Ben-
it by saying that Ben would know the future well enough. But then again,
God.
Ben
The
knows
movie
for a
wor-
fact
walks-
that Luke will survive.
But does he?
Yes.
Now that I think about it, because he doesn't know that Luke's gonna fucking survive Cloud City later in the movie.
Yes, because he's like, yeah, I'm not sure this one's gonna live, and Yoda's like, ah, don't worry, we got a backup.
Unless he's doing that stupid fucking point of view bullshit.
From a certain point of view, you know, he might freeze to death, but you know, fuck it, we'll.
From a certain point of view,
fix-
I hate this podcast.
I like to think that he came back later on as Han is saving him. It's like, Luke, I need you to go. Oh, Jesus Christ, what are you doing to that Tauntaun?
Obi-Wan Kenobi just pops in to see Luke in the middle of the entire scene where he's laying in the bed and Han and Leia and Chewie are there, and he's like, Luke, oh. I
Oh,
should
no.
go. We'll talk later. We'll talk. You're kissing your. No, we'll talk later.
Stop.
Bye.
He fades out, and Qui-Gon's just like, did you happen to tell him that that's his sister? It's like, no, don't. No, hold on, Matt. Qui-Gon.
So round back on a subject we already covered a little bit. The misogyny of Han Solo. So
Yeah.
when I used to watch this movie, like if I watched this movie like around the time The Force Awakens happened or a couple years before, I held the belief that everybody was being a little hard on Han Solo as far as the paying to Jabba thing, because he was legitimately trying to put a part of his history in the past.
I think it was more he's trying to not get murdered by bounty hunters.
Exactly. Like, that's the thing.
Putting it in the past is putting it a little lightly, I feel.
That's what I mean. He was almost doing the right thing, and everybody in the movie descends upon him for it.
Yeah. They do a really weird thing where, like, it's almost like he's and again, you know, it's the misogyny, toxic masculinity thing of having to like be all showy and dickish for Leia's benefit in his mind, almost, because to all of the Rebel command and everything, he's super respectful, and he's like, oh yes, of course, happy to help, and this, he seems like he's genuinely happy to be there, happy to help, and this and that. But when Leia walks in the room, he's like, oh no, fuck the rebellion, I'm just a big mean smuggler over here. Yeah.
Which, by the way, what the fuck did Han do to piss her off before the opening of this movie ever even rolled? Because the look she gives him the moment he enters that fucking command room is just pure fucking disgust.
Well, to be fair, Han's probably been pulling this like fucking oh, I know you want me card for like as long as they've been setting up Hoth, and she's probably so sick of it by now.
But, you know, I said all the stuff that I used to think. I don't think it anymore. Because of that dangerous fucking misogynistic masculinity of him. One thing that stuck out to me this watch more than any watch before, because there's always one thing you learn while you're watching one Star Wars movie every week forever is that different things are gonna be reinterpreted or stick out more to you than other watches. One thing that stuck out to me more was there's a scene where they're inside the asteroid and they don't know yet that they're inside the worm, where Leia falls back in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon into Han's arms, and he, like, holds her there, like, listening to something, and she asks him to let her go, and he just doesn't, for no reason. And it made me deeply uncomfortable this time around.
You want to talk about that? There is a, to dip quickly back into the radio drama, there's a moment on Cloud City where one of the I appreciate like radio dramas and old radio shows like The Shadow and Lone Ranger and stuff like that, because I have an overactive imagination, so it's easy to get into the scene and stuff. I had to actively quell that during this, where there's a moment where Han is hugging her or holding her or something, and she's like, Han, let me go, and he's like, no, I know you like this, and she's like, no, Han, let me go, and it's really long and drawn out. It goes
very
for a
uncomfortable.
while. It's incredibly uncomfortable.
It's nowhere near the level of Leia getting tortured, but it's definitely up there.
It's super uncomfortable.
You've already heard in the podcast, but I listened to that scene when editing this week.
Yeah, we warned you, but I know our words probably did not do it.
No,
justice.
I didn't have a choice.
I know, because you were splicing it in.
And I didn't splice in the second clip that I was going to, because it was just, if it was traumatic to me, I can't imagine how traumatic it was on the audience. So I just didn't do it.
Yeah, I'm very glad I'm not going to have to listen to that a third time.
Yeah,
I should have warned you, Chris, before you followed me down this rabbit hole.
No, it's fine. Like I said, as I said in our holiday special episode, there's very little that actually bothers me. So I obviously it was, this is weird, but this isn't great. No, it's fine. I'm good. Yeah, I don't know. Watching this now, I mean, it's definitely hard to defend Han as a character here. I don't know. I think Han Solo works best when you don't try to defend him.
Yeah.
People try to do that a lot with Han. I had this conversation one night with a mutual friend of ours who does not have a high opinion of Han Solo or Harrison Ford in general. But I kind of said the same thing along the lines of I like Han Solo as a character if you don't try to defend him too hard, if you use he's a smuggler, he was a spice runner, he's a douchebag, horrible person, because then it makes the stuff later on and the EU, with the original EU, better, where he did change and he ended up leading in the rebellion and doing all these good things. I do currently enjoy the new canon of, well, after the rebellion folded and First Order rose up, well, Han just went back to being an asshole.
The reason the new canon kind of bothers me is Han gets the same story arc 3 times.
Yeah.
Because spoiler, in the Solo movie, he starts out as an asshole and he turns into a good person by the end. And then the original trilogy, he starts out as an asshole and ends up being a little bit less of an asshole. And then, like Chris said, in the new trilogy, he just goes back on his old ways, but then tries to save his son and ends up being a good person. So it's how many times are we gonna have Han Solo learn the same lesson?
Because at that point, it's not that he's learning a lesson, it's that he's occasionally being reminded not to be the asshole that he is.
It's that he's relapsing into dicgishness.
See, I like to think of Han Solo, and Josh knows very well my point in this. I like to think of Han Solo very much in the way of we play a lot of tabletop games. Han Solo, to me, I have a personal stake. Reminds me a lot of a D&D character I played that was just constantly fighting against his better instinct to be the worst person.
Christ.
So maybe I look at it with a skewed context, but I like to think of Han Solo as that type of character where his better instinct is to always be the worst person in the room, but he occasionally is able to, he wants to be a good person, but
he's not.
He's not. That's the thing. But he's willing to, as we see with Kylo. One of my favorite moments of the sequel trilogy, honestly, is his scene with Kylo in Force Awakens. I mean, as we see, he's willing to make the sacrifices to be a good person at times. Doesn't mean you have to defend his worst moments, though.
Yeah.
I feel like it actually takes away from the character if you try to defend his
Which
Dickishness.
His bad moment. Yeah, like.
And unfortunately, our boy Georgie has not helped in the situation by essentially making edits to defend his character in the first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did that at one point in the EU. I could be wrong. I could be remembering entirely wrong because there's a lot of EU content to go
where
through.
He kind of relapsed.
Well, he relapsed at one point, yeah, but also
Like how we talk about him smuggling as if it's like a drug.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm going to, though. There was at one point where it's mentioned offhand that he was running spice.
Yeah.
And the Star Wars universe, various authors have done weird shit with spice where sometimes it's a horrific drug, and other times it's just like a thing. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Like it's not a big deal.
I honestly think death sticks in canon were introduced because George wanted there to be like a harder drug than spice, so that everybody could cool it about spice.
Exactly. Yeah, it's weird, and they've done it for they've done it for him. They did it with Poe later on in the sequel trilogy, where they kind of allude to it like it's a bad thing, but
and that's
they can't make up their mind.
I know I brought this up before, but like I want to say it's Rebels, but it might be Clone Wars, one of the animated shows. There's an offhanded comment where they're on, I believe it's Corellia, like the habitable part of Corellia, and the one representative goes, "Yes, it's used for many like medical purposes."
Yeah.
Like it has legit medical uses, but like
20 legalized spice.
We all we all know that's just a cover.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And also, for sure, on Dave Filoni's cartoon for children, they're not going to be like, "Hey, here's this fucking drug, kids. Do some spice."
I mean, that same episode, they also show like people in slavery mining the spice.
Well, that's why whenever I refer to Rebels, I refer to it to people as Dave Filoni's cartoon for children, because generally it depicts horrific shit.
If there's something the era of like the Galactic Civil War era does, it's depicting absolutely horrific shit, but making it campy enough that like it doesn't phase you that well.
Clone Wars is, I've watched one season of Clone Wars at this point. Clone Wars is kind of like that as well.
Yes.
But
there's legit someone, I'll have to dig it up to send in the group chat, but someone did videos of the animated shows listing all of the war crimes that are committed.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know if it's the same content creator on YouTube, but there's I found it literally in the recommended videos while watching one of those videos one day, where someone did a video that's literally just titled like "Rebels is a cartoon for children," and it's all the horrible shit that happens on Rebels.
So before we kind of go into whatever is next on the podcast, I want to linger on Han and Leia for a second.
Oh, God.
Yes, please, let's.
So back where this conversation started in the hallway, there is an individual with a box that just kind of forces his way between them.
I've always loved the 2 or 3 people that are trying to awkwardly like do their jobs while Han and Leia are lecturing each other.
But that guy that guy just goes right between them, like awkwardly, but right between them. And I want to know what that guy's day was like.
That guy has been dealing with them for weeks. He's like, I'm so fucking sick of you.
I
fucking
honestly feel for that guy.
God damn it.
Well, fucking there goes Han and Leia again.
I got obsessed with this because I wrote down exactly what he heard from that conversation, if we assume he only heard when he was close.
Oh, no.
So he has this princess turned general and a smuggler who randomly joined up arguing with her about totally not being in love. And then this general princess person, as he kind of pushes through, makes a racist comment about a Wookiee while knowing that the Wookiee's the smuggler's best friend is a Wookiee. What was going through that man's mind? Like, what controlled him enough to just not say anything other than I'm gonna get fired if I say anything about this. Let me shuffle through really quickly. I don't want to think about this.
Honestly, it was probably just the fact that he was so sick of this bullshit. Like, you could tell this isn't the first time these people have seen this happen.
He like he brings the box to whoever he's bringing it to. He's like, man, Larry, we were expecting this like 10 minutes ago. I know, look, the princess, she's arguing with that smuggler in the hallway again. It's this whole thing. It's she said something about a Wookiee. It's really left a bad taste in my mouth, if I'm being honest. I mean, like, my best friend's a Wookiee, man. Like,
Well, let's be honest.
I spent 8 years in space college learning SWEWF. It really made me uncomfortable.
It really made me uncomfortable. I mean, I took SWEWF for 4 years before I transferred. I mean, I had that Diane Carroll hypno tape.
I studied for 2 years abroad in Kashyyyk. But also, to be fair, this was the 80s. Barely. This was 1980.
No, it was
It was 1980.
It was 1 ABY.
Oh, it was one, but this was 1980. Fuck you, that's my job, Josh. This was 1980. So he was probably like, yeah, fuck those Wookiees. Like,
no,
it's not like the 80s was the most friendly time for minorities.
Yeah, you could say that about the movie.
I know, but like,
you can't say it about this random guy.
I'm saying, looking at it through the cultural lens of when it was made.
This guy shoves past them and is just like muttering to himself. He's like, can't believe she would say that to him after she knows that Chewbacca's family was just sent to that prison camp after what they did on Life Day.
You can't tell we're recording this the day after Christmas.
My poor sister.
The holiday special's fresh in my mind.
I was driving home from my mother's yesterday, and my poor sister had to sit through the entirety of the holiday special episode.
I don't know why you did that to your sister.
And it was the middle of the day, so it's not like the trip there where she slept through the episode of the podcast I listened to. It was the way back at like noon, so she was wide the fuck awake.
I don't know why you would do that to that poor girl, like your poor sister, man. Why would you do this?
I apologized twice.
Oh, hey, speaking of, hold on, I forgot. I gotta bring this up because it bothered me greatly. I was gonna do it in the intro, and then we had to bitch about Star Wars like Reddit fans for however the hell long, or Twitter people. Fucking. So listen. You know who you are. Lovely member of our small community. I need you to explain to me what even Chris means in YouTube comments. We got a lovely comment from a new listener. It was, oh, you guys are hilarious, even Chris. What the fuck does even Chris mean? Because it's been keeping me up at night.
We can't keep doing this every time someone finds the podcast.
Listen,
Crying.
Listen, I appreciate you listening, and I assume that was a compliment.
It was. It was a compliment.
I desperately need to understand the phrasing. I need to be clear. The phrasing, fucking hilarious. We laughed about it. Good.
We laughed about it for a day.
I adore you. I'm still.
I don't understand what it means. Congratulations for living rent-free in my brain for the last week.
Like, we can't keep doing this. We did it to Mr. Mishap.
Oh my god.
We still have a small enough community where we can interact with our people. So thank you, new listener.
And plus, scare them off.
I got
means.
I got a message from Mr. Mishap this week.
So Mr. Mishap left a comment on our
Which
Christmas
anyone
special,
who doesn't know, that's Mr. Mishap is a personal friend of mine, personal friend of the show. We all adore him.
Friend
Mr.
of the
Mishap,
show, Mr.
we love
Mishap.
you very much.
Friend of the show, Mr. Mishap. He left a comment on the Christmas special, and I said, we did it for you, Mr. Mishap, because Mr. Mishap asked us to do it like a couple
Like,
weeks in.
Well, I was pushing
second or
for
third
it for a
episode
while
of the
too.
podcast, you know.
I was pushing it for a while, and no one took it seriously until Mr. Mishap started saying shit.
And apparently I scared Mr. Mishap into thinking that I blamed him for the situation. No, I don't blame you. I blame Chris for deciding to make it every year.
Listen, I've committed us to every year. I've committed that I have to host this fucking thing every year. My goal is to be more and more drunk every time I host this fucking thing until one year I'm no longer speaking English, and y'all motherfuckers can fend for yourselves.
Well, based on how drunk I was for that recording, I can't guarantee I won't get there first. But anyway,
yeah,
Star
we should
Wars
get back.
Episode
Strikes
5,
Back.
Empire Strikes
Empire
Back.
Strikes Back.
Now that we're done yelling at our fan base.
We love you
Love
all.
you all. Jesus.
Yeah.
We love you all dearly. Fuck.
That was the funniest thing that has ever happened on this podcast.
I
you.
lost my fucking mind. Yeah.
So, you know what? No, I'm going to talk about Han and Leia one more time.
My
Oh,
God. This is gonna be the whole fucking episode.
This is the whole fucking episode.
So, Han, while they're trying to get around the Imperial Star Destroyers to get out of the system, and while they're in, Leia's giving him a hard time about his maneuverability and how he's going to get them killed. And he goes, "Oh yeah, watch this." And he goes to push it into light speed. Let's assume that the hyperdrive was working. What the fuck was, like, why does he think that someone who has been on the Millennium Falcon presumably more than once going to light speed would impress her that much?
Well, no, that's him saying, like, yeah, they're not gonna get us.
I realize what he's saying.
He's trying to throw her words into her face.
I realize that. I'm just saying he did a poor job.
Well, yeah, that's the point of the
Yeah,
shot.
light speed. It's existed for hundreds of thousands of years, Han. Thank you so much for getting us.
That's always one of the other things I've appreciated about Han Solo's character that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough. Han Solo is absolutely a great pilot. Not nearly as good of a pilot as he thinks he is. And Chewbacca's clearly the better pilot of the two of them.
Yeah.
There were less mishaps with the Falcon when Chewie was flying it in the sequel trilogy.
I always appreciate when we get to see glimpses of that aren't in book form.
And I was even gonna say, even outside of the movies, like I've said before, I'm just wrapping up the original Thrawn trilogy. Chewie is the much better Falcon pilot. Because every time he shows up, like, in the nick of time to save everyone's asses.
Chewbacca's the fucking MVP of the EU until fucking spoilers for fucking 20-year-old content. R.A. Salvatore decided to break my heart.
I'm not ready, Chris.
A moon got dropped on him. So on Dagobah,
while the children watched.
Oh my God! Why did you remind me of that? Fuck.
Were they children though?
God
damn it! So on Dagobah, one of my new favorite moments, and this is what I'm talking about. Every time you watch one of these movies, you either appreciate or hate something new. When Luke fails to maintain concentration with Yoda standing on his foot while he's upside down, they both topple and Yoda, like, assumedly takes a terrible, terrible, terrible fall. The second time they go back, it's almost the exact same scenario, except this time he's trying to levitate rocks. Yoda is no longer standing up top of him. And it's basically just Yoda saying, "I ain't fucking falling on my head again if you fuck up again, kid."
I watched this movie on Christmas Eve with my mother, my sister, and intermittently my stepfather. And I forget if it was I think it was my mom. It was the scene where Yoda's on Luke's back and they're running, and she goes, "Does Yoda have legs?" And I looked at her and I go, "What?" She's like, "Why is Luke carrying him?" I'm like, "'Cause he's like 2 foot tall?
Million years old." And also, he's a puppet.
Also before that, we were watching the Muppets A Christmas Carol, so I just got so much Frank Oz this week.
I'm interested
never have too
in
much
what
Frank
happened
Oz.
to Chris this week.
What happened to me this week?
Did you get enough Star Wars
Christmas
this week,
Day.
Chris?
Oh, God. No,
We get a
luckily
message- We get a random message on Discord that goes, my wife's family thought it'd be a good idea to watch Star Wars and I hate everything, or something along those lines.
They started, and to be clear, it's Christmas. Happy Life Day, post Life Day. This is like February.
Happy Valentine's Day. I think this comes out.
Wait, there was an Ewok Valentine's Day like equivalent.
Oh God,
Chris, continue.
Yeah, no, I started drinking at like 11 o'clock in the morning though, because Christmas, that's what Jesus would want, I think, right? But yeah, so yeah, I started drinking at like 11 o'clock. We went over to her family's house at like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're there for like an hour, and they're like, yeah, let's put like a Star Wars movie on. Like, let's pick a Star Wars movie. And they're like going through like their Roku, and they're all talking like, oh, this Star Wars movie's good. Oh, this one's good. And I'm quietly just the whole time, no, please no. Oh my God, no. No, please no. I'm like under my breath just muttering, I watch so much Star Wars. Please stop. No. This is my life. Don't do this to me. Stop, please.
So TNT like once a month has a marathon of Star Wars movies. And my dad always puts it on because, if he's hanging out in the house and there's nothing on, he'll absolutely put them on. It has gotten to the point where usually when I would come through before we started this podcast, I'd sit down and hang out down there for about 10-20 minutes and talk with him, and then I'd go back upstairs. I can't do it anymore. As soon as I see it on, I'm like, I need to get out of this first floor as fast as I can. I can't do Star Wars today.
You go into like a panic shuffle. It's like, oh God.
I'm picturing Josh coming down his steps, just seeing the TV and just like full on vomiting.
I don't
and
say
staggering
things. I don't want to be rude, but it's like, oh my God, Return of the Jedi again? I can't do this.
Josh just sees the TV. It's oh.
There has been a couple of times where I've turned on a random channel. I don't watch like live, regular, normal TV often, but there's been a couple of times where I've turned the channel and Star Wars has come on, or I've been at work and I look over and someone like switches one of the TVs at work to Star Wars, and it happens to be the movie I just fucking watched. I'm like, oh my God, no.
One day Chris is going to do a rotation watching Star Wars off of the TV at work that someone else is watching.
I haven't had the experience yet, because I've had the experience where I'm watching it a day and I come downstairs and it's on. I haven't had the experience yet where I'm upstairs watching it and I end it and I come downstairs to get a drink or something and that same episode is on, but I'm sure it's forthcoming.
Yeah, I mean, it's look, I feel like we're far enough into the rotation. I don't know if we've done it yet for this rotation where we should do like a check-in. I'm still having fun.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. We all know the parts that are fun and the parts that aren't. Mid-original trilogy, we're having a blast. Give us a couple weeks, we're gonna be fucking miserable.
I don't enjoy watching these fucking movies anymore, really. I do. I definitely do. But I certainly dread it, and I think about all the things I could be doing while I'm doing it.
Can I make a suggestion to you both? And you can feel free not to take it. I cannot tell you how good I feel when I watch the episode at the beginning of the week rather than dread it the entire week and then watch it at the end of the week.
You don't understand how bad my fucking memory is and how much stuff I have to do throughout the week, though.
I know.
Like, we generally record this on, like, either Friday or Saturdays. We're recording this on a Saturday, obviously, at the moment, because it's the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
Josh you generally watch it Sunday, right? You generally watch these movies, like, the day after?
I watch it either the day I edit the MP3, which is the podcast version, or the day after, generally.
Yeah.
I've gotten a little more lazy since the second rotation.
See, I can't do that. If I watch the movie and then I have a whole week of work and other stuff and just like I'll be fried. I won't.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I've seen these movies enough where fucking I wouldn't have to watch the movie to be able to talk about the individual movie.
I would literally murder not how this
No,
works.
I know. I'm saying, like, I could still, if I watched the movie a week ahead of time, I could still recall it enough to be able to talk about it.
I'm not saying I
And
have
also-
done it, but theoretically, I would be able to not watch the movie.
You can
no,
also
but, like, it's-
open an app on your phone and keep notes, and that way you can go, because that's what I do every time we're getting ready to do the podcast.
Well, I
We
do
started-
that
Yeah, but Josh,
occasionally.
that ruins the bit of me not taking notes.
Yeah. No, I certainly do that occasionally. I did that a lot for this episode, mostly the radio drama.
Yeah.
I do that often, but still, I feel like it's just easier for me. And usually my days off are either the day before we record or the day we record, so it's just easier for me to knock it out of the way.
I want to real quick talk about Darth Vader. When he first
Movie Vader or
Accountant
radio
Vader.
drama? Accountant Vader.
When he first pops up in the radio drama, it's the funniest shit because they definitely just took the first take because he sounds like the shopkeep when he's panicking at the Wookiee house in the holiday special. He goes, "General Veers," and then they just keep going. He just mumbles some shit angrily, and they just continue on. And
Can
it's
I,
the funniest shit I ever heard.
Ben, I will posit this to you. Can I say something incredibly controversial?
I hate it already. Go for it.
I kinda like Accountant Vader.
I like him for all the wrong reasons.
You know, I really like Accountant Vader on what little bit I've heard of him.
Like, it's jarring at first to not hear the James Earl Jones, but like, I don't know, man, it kind of works. I kind of like it.
Nah, it's the least threatening Vader I've ever heard. And I've heard a lot of Darth Vaders in my day.
There's a lot of, like, he sounds, I would suggest for anyone listening to this to listen to part of the radio. Just find a Vader segment of the radio drama
Well,
so you
they've
kind of get an idea
heard
of what we're
Vader's
talking about.
voice because he's been in the podcast.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, I
Perfect.
think Josh probably put a bit
It's
in.
he sounds James Earl Jones' voice has always bothered me because it doesn't seem to, when we see, I mean, look, there's no way we've seen what Anakin looks like. There's no way that voice is coming out of Anakin. And yeah,
True.
he's like robotic or whatever now, but like this voice just fits better, and he doesn't sound as menacing, but he certainly sounds fucking way more evil.
I will say,
I don't know about that one.
Like, he sounds so cartoonishly fucking evil, everything this person says.
it does sound more like Hayden Christensen than it does Vader. I will say that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, James Earl Jones and Hayden Christensen aren't exactly spitting. I want to say spitting image, but you know what I mean.
I'll also say, between last rotation when Ben brought it up on A New Hope, and between hearing about it last week, and between hearing about this behind the scenes over the last 9 weeks, Ben and then also you, Chris, built it up to such a level that I was like, I can't wait to hear how fucking bad this is. That when I heard it for the first time, I'm like, okay, that's not good, but it's not the worst thing.
I think it's more
terrible.
of one of those, it catches you way off guard if you're not expecting it.
Yeah, I'll never have that experience, but like,
To me, it wasn't as good in A New Hope. In this one, though, and again, I cannot stress enough, it's not a bit like the Attack of the Clones thing was at first. I really enjoyed this radio drama. Like, genuinely. Like, I genuinely enjoyed this radio drama. The fucking dinner scene in the radio drama, the Downtime Darth moment of Lord Vader inviting them to a nice dinner, I waited so fucking anxiously to get to that moment in the radio drama. And oh boy, was the payoff just fantastic. Because there is a moment where they come in as, Vader, and he's like, yes, you have arrived. Would you like to join me at my table?
Here's the back door. Enter, please. You don't have to ask twice when it comes to a meal for
Greetings, Princess Leia. Captain Solo. It has been a long chase. Would you care to sit at my table?
Thanks.
Oh, we can't let him take us.
He won't. So on, Vader!
Like, he legitimately is, like, setting it up, like...
So they go through a whole thing, and then I forget what it is, but, like, someone says something and it pisses him off, and he just, like, ushers them out. Like, they just leave the table there. No one touched any of the food.
The scene is so batshit because Han is like yelling and he's like, well, he took my gun, but let's see what he's made of in a fight. Chewie, you go at him that way. I'll go around the other side. We'll fight him. Like, they're like, Han Solo is about to fist fight Darth Vader, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, yes, please. What's happening?
It ends up like Vader starts like force choking Chewie, and he's like, I'll kill him if you don't stop. And Han's like going through this huge dilemma. And it takes him like a solid 10 minutes to figure out whether he can take Darth Vader without Chewie dying. And I'm just like, dude, it's Darth motherfucking Vader.
There is legitimately a moment where Han Solo and Chewbacca are about to fight Darth Vader in hand-to-hand combat, like some Masters of Terras Kasai bullshit.
Where is Hor the Tusken Raider? We need your help, Hor.
Yeah. Hor, where are you? Hor and Thok, we need you.
Thok.
No, it is fucking batshit, and it's so fantastic. Boba Fett, whoever does the voice, phoned it in so hard, by the way, for this. It's fantastic. Because he just shows up and he's like, hello, I'm Boba Fett. Hello, Han Solo.
Boba Fett spends so much time just kissing Vader's ass in this. Like, he go, oh, yes, my lord.
Yeah. At one point, he does the, well, I need him alive, Jabba wants to make an example out of him, and this and that. Vader's like, just calm down, I got it. And he's like, oh, yes, of course, Lord Vader, of course, absolutely, anything he's
Yeah. Oh, my God.
I will say, and again, possibly controversial, in the same, I really enjoyed Accountant Vader in this quite a bit. I think Accountant Vader did very well. At some point, we should probably shout out the actual person who did the fucking voice, who I believe, if I remember correctly, I looked into it, is unfortunately no longer with us. I cannot stress enough, in the Cloud City lightsaber duel between him and Luke, I think I might actually like his performance better than James Earl Jones's in that moment.
Holy shit, you weren't kidding when you were going to say controversial.
Heresy.
Wow.
Heresy.
Wow.
No, listen,
you know what?
honestly.
Can I diagnose this for a moment? You explain your reasoning, but I got to diagnose this once you're done.
Sure. Go. So, if I can make a suggestion to our audience, go to the Empire Strikes Back radio drama. Go to our friend of the show, Nigel. Go to his fantastic edit. Listen to the Cloud City duel with Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. The emotion in his voice, there's almost like a desperation there in attempting to plead with him to get him to join him.
I do not wish to damage you, but you leave me no alternative. No sword hand, no hope left for you, Skywalker. Surrender! Luke, do not make me destroy you. You do not yet realize your importance. You've only begun to discover your powers.
Get it over with.
Join me. I will complete your training. With our combined strength, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy.
Your kind of order. I'll never join you. I'll die first.
If only you knew the power of the dark side.
I've seen it. Hatred, fear, and cruelty.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough. He told me you killed my father.
No, Luke. I am your father.
It's true. That's impossible.
Search your feelings. You know what I say to be true.
No!
Luke! You can destroy the Emperor. He has foreseen this. Join, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
Please say that.
Come with me, Luke. It is the only way this can end.
No. There's another. I can jump.
Is that the wisdom of a Jedi?
I won't be the first to die to keep you from winning.
And it really fucking resonated in a way I didn't expect. I really enjoyed it. Like,
How hard do you think he had to think about his tax returns coming back with a decent paycheck in order to give that performance?
but no, like,
So-
legitimately,
I
again,
do want to
controversial, but
I do want to give Nigel a little shit because he
Friends
he
is
put
Jim
an
Nigel.
ad he put an ad right in the middle of "No, I am your father." So he goes, "No, Luke," and then I get it's the Macy's fucking December sale, and I'm like, really?
Can I diagnose something for a moment?
No, Luke. You have to shop these incredible savings at Macy's.
If you sign us up to Downtime Darth, we can do all of your advertisements as Vader as well.
Oh my god.
Can I diagnose something? Can I posit a theory?
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
I
Sure.
think it's possible that we have watched these movies already in such succession over this year, even before we started recording the podcast, that you are so desperate for anything to be different that the moment you had similar or the same lines of a big moment given to you, and it was probably good, you were like, this might be better than Empire Strikes Back. Vader reveals that he's Luke's father, which is considered one of the best scenes in the history of cinema.
I mean,
I think
look,
this
for sure, and
radio
it's-
drama that the majority of the cast of Star Wars never wanted anything to do with, that was forgotten to history until our dear friend Nigel brought it back, has a better
Oh
acting
my
performance
god.
than Empire Strikes Back, the best Star Wars movie and one of the best movies ever made, had. Or maybe Josh, in the Star Wars Every Week Forever editing room, which is just a spare room, thinks, having heard it, he might have a point. Or at least an argument, maybe not a definitive answer. Sorry, Ben.
Hold on, Josh. I need to correct you.
I didn't start out mad, but as I
Josh,
talked, all of a sudden I got
listen
mad.
here. According to you yourself, the best Star Wars movie ever made is The Force Awakens, young mister.
This
You've
again.
made this bed,
So-
now you will lay in it.
No, I won't. But I think it's a example of what I'm saying. The moment that I
So-
didn't have special features, I was like, well, The Force Awakens is the best movie ever made.
I would like to shout out. It was Brock Peters who did the voice of Darth Vader. He is unfortunately no longer with us. He passed away in 2005.
We're running out of Darth Vaders.
He does an incredible job in this. Like we really did make fun of the Accountant Vader thing because it's jarring. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's jarring at first, but I really grew to like it. I did.
I will say his performance in this episode was much better than A New Hope. I don't want to knock him personally, but I still much prefer the original James Earl Jones performance.
Which
Look, I'm not saying James Earl Jones obviously isn't the best. It's not obviously the best Darth Vader.
that Freudian slip was really interesting.
No, I'm saying he is the best Darth Vader. I'm saying this one particular scene, I think Brock Peters in this radio drama may have actually done a better job, in my opinion. I like this scene better. The emotion in it, honestly, like it's pure desperation is what it reads as, and I don't know. I like the maybe it's me putting context on it because of the prequels and Rebels and what we know about Anakin and his constant turmoil of feeling that pull back to the light but struggling with it, and so maybe I'm putting more context on it than I should, but I don't know. With all of that taken into account, I love the way that this scene is delivered by Brock Peters in the radio drama.
I kind of come to this with the opposite point, where I feel like Vader didn't have a very strong pull to the light until the throne room scene. So I always liked how the "I am your father" felt a lot like colder, a lot more calculated.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there's a, and again, it's a thing where it's a thing I've noticed recently watching these movies again. Like you pick out, like Josh said earlier, you pick out the little details and you pick out things. I like that there's a similar, and again, maybe I'm just thinking about the radio drama too much, but I'm pretty sure he says the same thing in the actual movie in Empire. But he says in the radio drama to Luke, like, you can defeat the Emperor. He's foreseen this. We can destroy him and rule the galaxy as father and son. Like, I like the way that mirrors to later on with Kylo reaching out to Rey of like, no, like, fuck, Snoke's dead. We can rule this place.
Yeah.
Like, we can rule the galaxy together. Like, I like that there's that, like,
It's like
power
poetry.
mad. Yeah, like it's like Shakespeare. Like,
Well,
a single tear drips down George Lucas's face.
I was about to say. I was about to say though, like Shakespeare, or rather, like a good stage play, it's really refreshing to hear different people over and over again deliver the lines differently, even if they're bad. Which I am not saying that this performance is bad by any stretch, and we'll get to that in a second. But it's refreshing to hear different people put different
Like fresher
performances on it, because they all bring in something different and interpret it and word differently. So I imagine this entire performance might be entirely valid. And to the credit of this individual who played Darth Vader, Empire Strikes Back isn't always great, because there's a line in it where Vader kills Captain Needa, and the sound of his respirator is literally randomly coming in and out while he is speaking, without at all syncing up with where his breath is.
Yeah, I don't know. I like this. I like the way it's delivered in this, because we've talked a lot about Anakin in this, and George's interpretation and his plans of Anakin still being the chosen one, and Anakin this and that, and all the. I feel like other people have carried on George Lucas's vision for Anakin Skywalker better than he did. Again, this is me putting too much context on it, I'm sure, because this came out years ago. But the delivery of this lines up so well with a certain scene in Rebels, which is my favorite Darth Vader moment in the entire franchise, which kind of has the same feeling, where it's that pull to the light. Not necessarily a pull to the light, but a faltering of the ideology of the Sith.
Like Vader kind of realizes, like Vader gets a little sense of self-awareness in that moment.
Yeah. There's that moment of like, oh fuck, am I the bad guy? And then like it goes away as quickly as it comes,
He kind of has an inkling of seeing how far he's falling.
Yeah.
And then
that's the
he
thing.
goes right back into cult mode.
Exactly. It's always temporary. It's always temporary. But I enjoy when there's those brief moments of Anakin that kind of peek through Vader.
Well, I think part of that is usually the way people writing stuff like that have handled it is those are big moments that are built up to. It's not just like, like fucking last Wednesday Darth Vader seemed a little weird. It's like, no, like a big character moment just kind of happened. Like, those moments are handled very well in terms of when they're placed and how they're brought about.
Just a couple of stormtroopers hanging out. One of them's like, I don't know, I walked into the cantina last week and Lord Vader was floating a pear across the room.
Now, hold on.
Crying.
Hold on. You're entirely valid in your point, Ben, that in the context of Star Wars, It's been handled better than that, and I totally agree with you. But also, that's a Downtime Darth episode. That's 100% a Downtime
Oh my
Darth.
god.
Just told from the perspective of the stormtroopers of Vader having a really bad couple of days.
Speaking of Downtime Darth, the scene where I forget what commander it is, but the one commander comes in to talk to Vader while Vader's in his chamber.
Yeah.
So the guy walks in the radio show, and Vader, attaches his helmet and turns around. He goes, "Commander, did you see what was under my helmet?"
Were you shocked by what you saw?
Lord Vader, I was behind you. I only saw the back.
I'm aware of what you saw.
It is
so weird.
It reminds me so much of what's
you see?
It's so oh god. It's so it reminds me of John Goodman's character on Community, where he plays like, vice principal or whatever, and he's like, there's this weird thing where he's like halfway through one of the seasons, like anytime he's talking to somebody, he's like this evil scheming character, but he's always like, now turn away as I crawl away from out of this blanket fort. I'm going through some stuff. I'm feeling a little self-conscious. And he, like, it really comes off like self-conscious, like Downtime Darth, like, Did you see what's under my helmet? Good. I'm not in a good place right now.
Can we? I'm begging y'all. We're running a little bit late, but also we've been running early, comparatively the majority of it. Can we play a little bit in this sandbox of just Vader fucking having a terrible fucking couple of days, fucking trying to make everybody around it, all of the stormtroopers just walking around like, Larry, did you go into the cantina? And yeah, I've been in there. Did you see Vader? He's been just like floating around a knife and nobody really approaches him. Well, who's gonna approach Vader? I don't know, Larry, but somebody should. All right, I'll try. All right, Larry, you're a hero. And then Larry later approaches him and he's like, why are you floating around this knife? I'm just thinking about stemless pears. Do you know how easy it is to cut a stemless pear with a knife? No, sir. No, sir, I don't know how easy it is to cut a stemless pear with a knife. You know my wife. You had a wife, Lord Vader? Quiet, I'm speaking!
You will not talk to me. You will not talk about Padme.
I don't know who Padme is.
I'm lashing out emotionally. Will let someone look at me? I'm killing Larry. I'm killing Larry. Does no one see me killing Larry because he asked about my wife, Padme?
This just reeks of the scene in Spaceballs where Colonel Sanders walks in on Lord Helmet. He goes, Did you see me just a second ago? He goes, no, sir. I did not see you playing with your dolls. Good.
I just picture it's like, those the royal guards, like, Emperor, sir, Lord Vader, he's crying in the cantina again about stemless pears. Just, Good.
I'll make sure his suit beeps a couple extra times today.
We'll make sure there's a couple of jokes in there.
This is also, because we're still pitching a show to Disney+, this works with The Rise of Skywalker. Because Palpatine is able to make other people think thoughts in that series, essentially, and almost actualize them. Every voice you've ever heard,
Oh my god, Palpatine definitely threw some visions of Padme at Vader.
100%.
Didn't the Vader comics straight up do that?
I think so, but I don't know if that was directly Palps. It might have been. I haven't read any of the newer ones lately.
If I remember correctly, it was. But,
okay.
Also, just, this entire just fucking funny Downtime Darth show, and, this could be the season finale, and, someone walks up, an admiral walks up to Palpatine and says, my lord, I know Vader has been very lately. Well, how do you know he's been very lately? I have orchestrated it. Every moment of depression he has ever had, I gave to him.
I forbade him from watching his pod races again.
You bastard! You're so fucking close.
Yes.
Finally, everybody come and play in my sandbox, and you kick down my sandcastle. You fucker.
Last week, when he was crying in the cantina to Larry, I hid his left leg.
Larry walks over. Oh, my lord, where did your leg go?
I watched him hop around the cantina like a little bitch for 20 minutes.
Next week I'll take both of them and he'll look like a little short person. Like he's from Tatooine.
This has been solved every week, forever. Good night.
Everyone have a lovely festival of love.
I don't know if it comes out that week. I was just guesstimating.
Well, you can edit this out.
February 10th.
God, we are
gosh.
unhinged. We are
That,
unhinged.
That may have legitimately been one of our best episodes we've ever done, just from like an actual, like, we put real content in there. We did stuff. Look at us. Hey, look at us.
Really,
Actually doing things.
Hey, look at us.
God.
Hello and welcome to my recommendations. I started that off as if I was reintroducing the podcast. No, we're not putting you through another fucking hour of this. However, my recommendation for this week is an EU book by the name of Star Wars Yoda Dark Rendezvous. Now, there's not a crazy large amount of books. I mean, there's less The Old Republic content than this, but there's not a crazy large amount of Clone Wars novels out there on the market in the EU because they wanted to put it into the Clone Wars. But this is one of the few I own, and I really love it because it strikes a balance between Minch, which we've started referring to Minch as Yoda now for 9 weeks. This sort of like stuffy old asshole cult leader, and Yoda, this semi-humorous teacher that sort of understands how to get through to his students. Despite it being a prequel novel, this is one of my favorite Yoda portrayals ever. It's written by Sean Stewart, and within the realm of the book, it's essentially Dooku sending Yoda a message, convincing him to come meet him in order to discuss him coming home. It's essentially this plea from Count Dooku, whether it's genuine or not, which the book never precisely says. It infers that it's both ingenuine and genuine, which is fascinating, of Dooku wanting Yoda to come meet him, and sort of it's almost this plea for Yoda to come see him and maybe take him off the path. It puts a lot more character into Dooku that wasn't really there in the EU. His interactions with Asajj Ventress in this is my favorite interactions they've ever had. Now, granted, I haven't watched the rest of the Clone Wars, so please don't kill me. But because it's almost like he both understands in regards to her what the rule of two is, and she does not understand it at all. And he almost tries to get that through to her, but she's also kind of his emotional punching bag, but not in a cruel way, but in a way that depicts his turmoil. And Yoda is depicted through flashbacks and everything else, in a way that's almost the same Yoda you knew. It's this humorous character. There's a scene with him fucking around with people in a fucking kitchen. It's like, it's really good. He strikes the balance between humorous, even when dealing with other Jedi Masters, and serious that doesn't seem like, I don't know, telling a kid that he's scared or telling an adult that is the chosen one that he should stop worrying about people dying. It's mature. It's a mature look at Yoda, and I think a really faithful representation of him. So I highly recommend this book. When I do recommendations, I usually go back and I start rereading just the first couple chapters of the books to make sure that they hold up. And I'm going to finish this book. because I forgot how good it was despite putting it on the list. So I highly recommend it. It's not canon anymore, but I think if you want some kind of strike a balance between Yoda and Minch, this is it. All right, I'm done ranting. You're off. Fuck Minch.
Minch 2020.
I know we it's about to be 2020. It'll be 2021 by the time this airs.
You're right. I just said that to you guys. I didn't know if that was going in or not.
It is now.
God damn it.
I came in to compliment Josh on a very well worded, very well done suggestion for the week. And then that fucking happened.
And then, as usual, Ben comes along.
Ben never change.
I don't
We love
plan
you.
on it. I plan on torturing you guys for the next forever.
Truly
Don't
the
worry.
Then stop
truly
mentioning
best
pod
of us.
racing. But
Josh,
also, love you, dude.
make me.
Ben, stop mentioning Pod Racing 2020.
No.
All right.
Bye.
Ben starts every week. Well, the podcast is over.
This
already.
deal's getting worse all the time.
If you enjoyed that episode, why not like and subscribe? Also, share it with a couple friends. Bring them into this hellscape that we've done to ourselves. You can catch brand new episodes every single Wednesday on Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, pretty much every other platform you get your podcasts on. If you'd like to extend the suffering, you can catch us over on twitter.com at SWEWF. We post direct links to brand new episodes every week as soon as we upload them, and you can catch the occasional other dumb Star Wars take, and who wouldn't want that? Catch you guys later.